Welcome to Grip Grind Glory, where grapplers train with purpose and grow through the grind. And now, your host, thought-provoker, and fellow grinder, Anna Janovics.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Grip Grind Glory, the podcast. This is episode 22 and today I am going to talk about adults and how I believe judo is failing them and what kind of solution we at Grip Grind Glory are going to offer them from 2026. So first of all, I'd like to define what I mean by adults. These are people who have been doing judo on and off. Maybe they're between between 20 and 50 years old, and they might also be newcomers. Anyone technically who is between the age of 20 and 50 and are looking to get into it or back into it, or they have been there. The important thing is, I think, is that they're not gone. They didn't just magically vanish. They're still out there, active, passive, interested, wanting something. But judo has nothing that fits who they are now, because, life has happened and they're not kids anymore. And, a lot of things have changed. And I think that's where the sport has failed them, because there isn't a clear pathway. So today we're going to break down what's actually going on and then share with you what we're building. And this is not to replace clubs, but to lift judo up and bring people back to the clubs or down to the clubs for the first time. The thing that people sometimes forget is that adults don't quit being active. Sport England literally shows the opposite. Adults are more active than ever. And it's even more true in combat sports, because it all only becomes huge in midlife, from maybe even from 25. And BJJ proves this perfectly. The average BJJ practitioner is around 30 years old, and that's the exact group judo struggles to keep. And I know in judo we don't like to talk about BJJ and how successful it is, but I think there is a lot to take away from how that sport is forming the new combat sport field. British judo has around 38,000 members, which is okay, but most of them are kids. Local club numbers show the exact same split, about 2/3 juniors and 1/3 adults in a good day. And it's not that adults somehow disappear, it's just that this sport doesn't really give them a place to land. Rather, they're lingering, they're somewhere out there hovering. They show up once a week, once a month. They don't dislike the sport. They just feel disconnected. I think that's how I see. And that they might be thinking, I should get back into something, but that something isn't clear. And it's not gonna be judo, because judo doesn't really offer them something anymore, because when they leave at the age of 16, 18, 20, whenever they go to uni and here and there and everywhere, they will have usually graded to black belt, and then what? Downgrading? Yeah, whatever. Where the whole thing breaks down, I think, is that when you're an adult and you might start working, having a family, those kind of things, you don't necessarily want to chase belts or compete even, or train like an athlete. Then what exactly is your path in this sport? because other sports offer different paths. This one doesn't. If you don't compete, then you just go to trainings. Yeah, okay. And so what are you building toward? What are you trying to improve? Or even more so, how do you measure progress? And most adults eventually end up feeling like, I'm showing up, but I don't really know what for anymore. There isn't a clear, path for me. And I find that that's when people fade out, not because they don't love the sport or the community they belong to, but because they're not given a journey. And adults need structure, they need purpose, and they do need a sense of belonging, definitely, and that they get some of it from the club. They will have friends there, but belonging to a sport, to a bigger thing, is a different thing altogether. And I call these people the lingering adults because they are still there somewhere. They have a very strong foundation. They just don't see themselves in there anymore, and that is the person we're designing for at Grip Grind Glory, the one who says, I miss training. I really used to love judo, and I do want to come back. Or, it looks so exciting. I want to give it a go for the first time. Who are not necessarily into competitions, but they still want to challenge themselves. That's what a whole, sport thing is about. They don't need a belt. They just want to progress. And these people are everywhere. We get messages every day. They're not dormant. They're just unserved, if that makes sense. And they're not looking for something extreme either. They're just looking for something that fits their life as it is right now. And so what we're building is called, for these people, is this is the missing adult pathway, and it's called the GGG Experience. And the important bit before we dive into it is that we're not replacing clubs, and we're not creating a separate ecosystem. We're all in the same game. And what we're trying to do is to elevate the image of judo and to make it a spin so it's more enjoyable and it appeals to a broader audience. It will hopefully make adults fall in love with judo, or fall in love again, and hopefully send some more people into local clubs, not away from them. Long term, obviously, we want to work with clubs directly so they can run this experience for their own members. And this isn't meant to be exclusive. It's meant to raise the standard, rather. Now, onto what it is actually. The experience is a 2-month journey for adults, 16 plus. It's going to be made up of 3 deemed sessions, face-to-face sessions, each one, with a set focus and a result at the end. It's built around the framework of Grip, Grind and Glory. That's what the 3 sessions are called. And Grip, so the first cycle will start in January, and I'm only going to be talking, about the first cycle for the sake of presenting the idea to you guys. The first event of the first cycle will be called about taking control, understanding what's going on and start feeling confident. And you will learn not necessarily new things, but with a new spin on this. you will learn taking control in a way you might have not had the time to learn in your local club. And then once you got the knowledge, we will support you throughout the next month until you get to the second event online. You will get, some homework, some equipment, and you will be able to get yourself prepared to the next session, which is called the grind. And that's gonna be about physical challenges. It's all judo related, and it's not gonna be sparring. It's gonna be a challenge where you will measure up to your mates at the event, and it's all a very friendly atmosphere. It's gonna be about handling pressure technically, problem solving, staying calm and doing your best. And that will lead on to the third event. Between the two, again, we will support you in getting ready for the last event, which is called the Glory. And that's where you put it all together. And that's the final challenge, which is going to be a sparring with a new rule set. And it will, at the end there will be some community stuff as well, because we would like to celebrate you guys, being in it with us for 2 months. So there is going to be an online bit, but it's all built around 3 face-to-face events in Leeds. And it's not a grading, it's not a seminar, it's more like a progression system. And next year in 2026 there are going to be 4 cycles like this, a different theme for each of them, and it will make judo feel engaging again, and it gives a new spin on the whole thing, a different atmosphere, and some reason to stay in the sport or join rather. The reason why it matters for the future of judo, you might ask, is that if judo wants to grow, adults are the key. Because, kids are amazing, we love them, we have loads of them in our local club as well. But adults bring stability to any kind of sport. They bring their kids, they bring the money, they're working people. They bring long-term culture, which is the most important thing. And they also bring identity. And if a sport wants to excel and wants to grow, these are the things it needs. If they don't build for them, for these people, it will always keep restarting the cycle with kids. And that's where you lose momentum every single time. We're not trying to build a new word, definitely not. We're trying to fix the missing bridge in the one that already exists, to bring people down to the clubs or back to the clubs, and to give newcomers, something to aim for, really. If it's not the grades, it isn't for me, for example. So I'm a little bit at a loss here. That's obviously one of the reasons why we created Grip Grind Glory. And I know a lot of others who are in the same shoes as me. This is how you grow judo, and not by chasing, professional systems, but by making the sport make sense for everyone, for a very broad audience, and for people who actually want to stay, who don't just, compete at a high level and then, fall out or become coaches or whatever, but, to keep them in it for life. So, if you're an adult and you are anywhere near Leeds next year. If your training feels a little bit flat, or you just look for some new motivation or just inspiration, something meaningful to work toward again, January's experience will be your reset. We start at the end of January, and we're going to be running the first cycle for 2 months, and then a new cycle starts, and then a new one and a new one. For now, we're going to be running the sessions in our partner dojo in Leeds Hosford, but going forward, we are going to be looking to run regional events. So go online, www.gripgrindglory.com, and click on the experience. You'll find some more information on there. You can just sign up to our newsletter, where I'll keep you updated what's going on, what the other themes will be next year. We always have some early bird discounts, some exclusive stuff going on. So sign up to our newsletter, definitely. But even if you don't join, I hope this episode reminds you of one thing: that you're not on the edges of judo. You're not less than because you're not competing or grading. You're exactly the person judo should have built a pathway for in the first place. And we're here to finally make that happen. So join us, join the movement, join us on Instagram. We have some amazing merch as well. Just come out, have a look on our website, and get in touch, join our tribe, and next year should be a lot of fun. So I hope you're gonna be in it with us. Thanks for listening. I will be back in 2 weeks, hopefully with a interview with one of my teammates, and then some more amazing stuff is in the pipeline for next year, so stay tuned. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. See you. Bye.